You wake up to a bright morning, the sun spilling through your curtains, and you head into the kitchen. You've been making the same breakfast for years. It feels safe, familiar, even healthy. But what if I told you that this very first meal of your day could be silently priming your body for a devastating stroke? Imagine sitting at your table, sipping your coffee, when suddenly your hand trembles, your words slur, and the world tilts around you. In that moment, the hours ahead aren't about reading the paper or meeting friends. They're about an ambulance ride, a hospital bed, and the terrifying question of whether you'll ever walk or speak the same way again. Here's the unsettling truth. The culprit behind this crisis might not be a pack of cigarettes, a night of heavy drinking, or even a lifetime of bad habits. It could be a single common breakfast food you've trusted for decades, the one you've been told is good for you, the one that sits proudly in your pantry or fridge, ready to greet you every morning. This isn't about scare tactics. It's about revealing a risk most seniors never see coming until it's too late. As a brain doctor, I've seen too many cases where a small daily choice snowballed into a life-changing event. The food in question doesn't just nudge your stroke risk. It can cause sudden dangerous changes in your blood sugar, blood pressure, and vascular health, the three factors that make strokes far more likely in people over 60. And the saddest part, most of my patients had no idea they were putting themselves in danger. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 9 common breakfast dangers that could be silently sabotaging your brain and heart, starting with the one so many seniors eat without a second thought. And by the time we're done, you'll know exactly how to swap them for safer stroke-preventing options that can keep you sharp, strong, and independent for years to come. As we age past 60, our bodies don't handle mornings the way they used to. You might think, breakfast is breakfast, I've been eating it all my life. But here's the medical truth. Your metabolism at 65 is not the same as it was at 35. Hormonal changes, reduced muscle mass, and slower digestive processes all work together to make certain breakfast choices far riskier than they were decades ago. In younger years, your body could manage a morning spike in blood sugar or salt without too much trouble. Your arteries were more elastic, your pancreas more responsive, your kidneys more efficient. But with age, blood vessels naturally stiffen, making it harder for them to absorb sudden changes in pressure. The heart has to pump harder, and your brain's delicate blood supply is more easily disrupted. This means that even one poor choice at breakfast can set off a chain reaction, raising your stroke risk for hours after the meal. Let me give you a concrete example from my clinic. Harold, a 72-year-old retired bus driver, came in complaining of occasional dizziness in the mornings. He thought it was just age, or maybe dehydration. But when I asked about his morning routine, I found the real problem. Every day, without fail, Harold ate a big bowl of instant oatmeal with flavored syrup, followed by 2 slices of white toast and coffee. Sounds harmless, right? The trouble was this combination delivered a huge hit of simple carbs and sugar all at once. His blood sugar soared, his insulin spiked, and within an hour his blood pressure had risen sharply, a dangerous 1-2 punch for his vascular system. Studies show that after 60, insulin sensitivity declines significantly, meaning your body takes longer to process sugars and starches. Pair that with slower digestion, and your bloodstream is flooded with glucose for longer periods. This excess sugar damages the inner lining of your arteries called the endothelium, making it easier for plaque to build up and clots to form. And it doesn't stop there. Morning blood pressure peaks common in older adults combine with this vascular stress to dramatically increase the likelihood of a stroke, especially within the hours right after waking. I told Harold something that startled him. It's not that you can't have breakfast, it's that the breakfast you're eating is built for a younger body. Yours needs a new blueprint. We made changes, swapping his instant oatmeal for steel-cut oats, with berries replacing the white toast with a slice of whole-grain bread, and adding a boiled egg for protein. Within weeks, his dizziness disappeared, and his blood pressure readings were noticeably steadier. So here's the first takeaway. After 60, your breakfast isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about controlling how your body reacts to that first meal of the day. Your metabolism's morning window is narrower now, and you have to treat it with precision. And if you think sugar is the only hidden enemy in your morning routine, wait until we talk about the stealthy sodium lurking in some of the most healthy breakfast staples. That's coming next, and it's a danger most seniors never taste until it's too late. You might believe you're safe from blood sugar issues because you don't sprinkle sugar on your breakfast or stir it into your coffee. But here's the catch. Some of the most common morning foods for seniors can cause massive sugar spikes without tasting sweet at all. And these spikes aren't just about diabetes. They're a direct threat to your brain and blood vessels. Here's what happens inside your body when you eat certain refined grains or starchy foods. First thing in the morning, your digestive system breaks them down into glucose at lightning speed. This sends your blood sugar soaring, forcing your pancreas to release a rush of insulin. In your younger years, your body could bring those numbers back down fairly quickly. But after 60, insulin resistance creeps in, meaning your cells don't respond as well, and sugar lingers in your bloodstream for hours. Why does this matter for stroke risk? High glucose levels damage the inner lining of your arteries, making them more prone to inflammation and plaque buildup. Over time, this damage narrows the blood vessels, creating the perfect conditions for a clot to form and block blood flow to the brain. Morning sugar spikes are especially dangerous because your blood is already thicker and more likely to clot after you've been asleep all night, so that sudden surge is like pouring gasoline on a fire. I'll never forget Maria, a 69-year-old retired librarian who came to see me after a terrifying incident. One morning, just 45 minutes after finishing her breakfast of raisin bagels and fruit juice, she felt dizzy. Her vision blurred and her right arm went numb. By the time she reached the hospital, she'd experienced a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke. When we looked at her blood work, Her glucose was far above the normal range, and her blood pressure had spiked dramatically right after eating. The culprit wasn't candy or dessert. It was her healthy breakfast. What made Maria's case so alarming was that she didn't have diabetes. She thought sugar spikes were only a concern for people with that diagnosis. But the truth is, seniors without diabetes can still experience dangerous post-meal blood sugar surges, and those surges are a hidden driver of stroke risk. If this sounds familiar, if your breakfast includes white bread, instant cereals, bagels, pastries, or sweetened yogurt, you might be unknowingly putting your brain in danger every single morning. The fix isn't to skip breakfast. It's to choose foods that release sugar slowly, keeping your levels steady and your arteries protected. We'll cover safer options later, but first we need to address another silent threat hiding in your pantry, one that doesn't spike sugar, but instead pushes your blood pressure higher with every bite. And the most shocking part, it's found in foods you've been told are heart-healthy. Salt has a way of sneaking into our diets without us realizing it, especially at breakfast. Most people think of salty snacks or fast food as the main culprits, but some of the most wholesome morning staples can quietly load your bloodstream with more sodium than your heart and arteries can safely handle. Here's why this matters more after 60. As we age, our kidneys become less efficient at filtering excess sodium from the blood. This means that even moderate amounts of salt can cause fluid retention, which increases the volume of blood your heart has to pump. The result: a rise in blood pressure that can be both sharp and sustained. And when high blood pressure combines with age-related arterial stiffness, the risk of a blood vessel rupture or clot, the two main causes of stroke, goes up dramatically. Take cottage cheese, for example. It's marketed as a healthy, high-protein breakfast option, and in many ways, it is, except for the fact that some brands pack over 500 milligrams of sodium per half cup. That's a third of the daily limit for seniors in just a few spoonfuls. Add to that a couple of slices of whole wheat bread, which can hide 200–250 milligrams of sodium each, and you've already reached half your day's allowance before you've even finished your coffee. I remember working with Thomas, a 74-year-old retired electrician who was meticulous about his health. He avoided processed meats, stayed active, and never added table salt to his food. But his blood pressure readings kept creeping upward, and he couldn't figure out why. When we broke down his diet, we discovered his breakfast was the problem: a bowl of instant heart-healthy cereal, 2 slices of multigrain toast, and low-fat cottage cheese. Each item seemed innocent, but together they delivered more than 200 milligrams of sodium, more than half of what his body could safely process in a day. The scary part is that sodium's effect isn't just immediate. Over time, excess salt damages the endothelium, the same delicate lining inside your arteries that's vulnerable to sugar spikes. This makes the arteries stiffer and less able to expand, trapping your blood pressure at dangerous levels. High morning readings can carry over into the rest of the day, keeping your vascular system under constant strain. Thomas made one simple change. He swapped his cottage cheese for plain Greek yogurt, chose a low-sodium bread, and replaced his cereal with rolled oats. Within weeks, his blood pressure readings dropped, his energy improved, and his stroke risk was measurably lower. So here's the takeaway. Sodium isn't just a dinner problem. It can be hiding in your breakfast, even in foods you've been told are healthy. And when combined with the sugar surges we talked about earlier, it creates a double-edged sword for your arteries. But salt and sugar aren't the only breakfast dangers for seniors. Next, we'll talk about a surprising trap in your morning protein, one that has more to do with the type of cholesterol it carries than the amount. And if you've been told eggs are safe, now you'll want to hear this. Protein is often hailed as the hero of a healthy breakfast, especially for seniors trying to maintain muscle mass. And it's true, you need adequate protein to protect against muscle loss and keep your metabolism steady. But here's the hidden trap. Not all breakfast proteins are equal, and some can carry cholesterol types that are far more dangerous for an aging brain and heart. When most people think about cholesterol, they imagine it as a single uniform substance. But in reality, there are different kinds. The one you need to watch most closely after 60 is LDL, and within LDL, the smaller, denser particles are especially harmful. These tiny particles can penetrate the walls of your arteries, triggering inflammation and accelerating plaque buildup. Over time, they narrow the blood vessels that supply your brain, setting the stage for a clot or rupture. Take processed breakfast meats like bacon, sausage, or ham. Even the lean or reduced fat versions are high in saturated fats, which increase the production of small, dense LDL particles. And here's what many seniors don't realize. Certain high-fat dairy proteins like cream cheese or flavored yogurt can have a similar effect, especially when paired with refined carbs. The combination magnifies the cholesterol's impact on your arteries, leading to a dangerous synergy that quietly raises stroke risk. I saw this firsthand with Margaret, a 70-year-old retired nurse. She prided herself on avoiding sugary cereals and pastries, opting instead for what she thought was a heart-smart breakfast: 2 scrambled eggs, a slice of cheddar cheese, and turkey bacon, all on an English muffin. But when we ran her lipid profile, her LDL particle count was alarmingly high, despite staying within traditional cholesterol guidelines. She was producing the most dangerous type of LDL, and her brain's blood supply was at risk. Why was this happening? Margaret's breakfast was a perfect storm: animal fats, processed protein, and refined flour. This combination raised her LDL particle production, while also increasing post-meal blood sugar. A double hit to her vascular health. Within 6 months of shifting to plant-forward proteins like nut butter on whole grain bread, Greek yogurt with berries, and occasional eggs paired with vegetables, her cholesterol profile improved dramatically, and her risk markers dropped. The key point here is that breakfast proteins should be chosen with the same care as your carbs. Just because something is high in protein doesn't mean it's safe for your arteries. And the older you get, the more important it becomes to think about the quality of your protein, not just the quantity. If sugar spikes, hidden sodium, and LDL traps aren't enough to make you rethink your morning routine, wait until you hear about the real-life story of a woman whose daily breakfast almost cost her her independence. Her story might sound eerily similar to your own, and it's coming next. Mrs. Ellen was 68 when I first met her. A retired elementary school teacher, she had always been active walking her dog twice a day and volunteering at the local library. She wasn't overweight, didn't smoke, and rarely drank alcohol. By most accounts, she was the picture of good health for her age. But one morning changed everything. She was sitting at her kitchen table, sipping coffee, and finishing her usual breakfast, a bowl of sweetened instant oatmeal with dried fruit, a slice of whole wheat toast with margarine, and a small glass of orange juice. Within an hour, she began to feel light-headed. At first, she brushed it off as being a little tired. Then her vision blurred. Her left arm felt heavy, and her words came out slurred. Her husband recognized the signs and called 911 immediately. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed she'd had a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke. While she was fortunate that there was no permanent damage, the incident was a wake-up call. When she was referred to me for follow-up, we went over every detail of her diet and lifestyle. The culprit quickly became clear. Her healthy breakfast was anything but. The instant oatmeal and dried fruit hit her bloodstream with a load of quick-digesting carbs, spiking her blood sugar. The toast added more refined starches and sodium, while the margarine contributed trans fats that impair artery function. The orange juice, despite its reputation as a vitamin-rich drink, delivered a concentrated dose of fructose without any fiber to slow absorption. This was a perfect recipe for a post-meal surge in blood sugar and blood pressure, combined with vascular inflammation. For someone in her late 60s, with slightly stiffened arteries, this was enough to tip her into a dangerous episode. Ellen was stunned. "I thought I was doing everything right," she said. And she wasn't alone. Most seniors I work with believe that choosing whole wheat bread, instant oatmeal, and juice is a smart, balanced way to start the day. What they don't realize is that these foods, especially when combined, can trigger the exact biochemical changes that make strokes more likely. We rebuilt her breakfast from the ground up. Instead of instant oatmeal, she switched to steel-cut oats, cooked in water, topped with fresh berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon. The toast was replaced with a slice of sprouted grain bread, topped with avocado for healthy fats, and the orange juice. Gone replaced by a glass of water and a small serving of fresh orange slices alongside her oats. Within weeks, her morning blood sugar readings were steady, and her blood pressure was under better control. Ellen now tells her friends, "It's not just about what you eat, it's about how your body handles it at our age." And she's right. The foods that served you well in your 40s can be dangerous in your 60s and beyond. If Ellen's story makes you rethink your breakfast, you'll want to hear what's next, because even some super healthy high-fiber options can be surprisingly harmful for seniors. And the reason why will change how you see your morning cereal forever. Fiber is often praised as a cornerstone of a healthy diet, especially for digestion and heart health. And for good reason, the right kinds of fiber can help regulate blood sugar, improve bowel movements, and even lower cholesterol. But here's what many seniors don't realize. Not all fiber-rich foods are created equal, and some of them can actually work against you after 60. The trouble comes down to two factors: how the fiber is processed and how your aging digestive system handles it. Many high-fiber cereals, breads, and granolas are heavily processed. They may still meet the technical definition of high fiber, but the grains have been milled and refined in a way that makes their carbohydrates break down much faster than you'd expect. That means your blood sugar can still spike, even while you believe you're making a smart choice. After 60, digestion naturally slows. The muscles of the digestive tract move food more slowly, and the balance of gut bacteria changes. This means that certain high-fiber foods, especially those with large amounts of insoluble fiber from bran, can lead to bloating discomfort and even nutrient loss if they move through too quickly or irritate the gut lining. More importantly, for brain health, processed high-fiber foods can still cause significant post-meal glucose surges, keeping your arteries under the same stress as more obvious junk breakfasts. I think of Gerald, a 71-year-old retired accountant who came to me frustrated. He had switched to a heart-healthy bran cereal with skim milk, thinking it was a perfect senior-friendly breakfast. But within months he noticed more frequent episodes of mid-morning dizziness and fatigue. When we tracked his blood sugar, we saw it spike sharply within 30 minutes of eating and then crash 2 hours later. His healthy cereal was laced with added sugars and processed grains that digested almost as quickly as white bread. Once Gerald switched to a less processed, more balanced breakfast, such as overnight oats with chia seeds, nuts, and unsweetened almond milk, his blood sugar readings stabilized. The fiber was still there, but it was in a form that released glucose slowly and worked with his aging metabolism, rather than against it. The takeaway is this high fiber on the label doesn't guarantee a safe breakfast for seniors. You need to look beyond the number and focus on the source and form of that fiber. Whole, intact grains and fresh produce are far better than boxed cereals or fiber-enriched breads. And while fiber mistakes can sabotage your morning, there's another hidden risk many seniors overlook, one that has less to do with what you eat and more to do with what you drink. If you're a coffee lover, you might be surprised by how your morning cup, combined with certain breakfast choices, can quietly increase your stroke risk. Let's talk about that next. For many seniors, coffee is the most anticipated part of the morning. That first warm sip feels like a ritual, comforting, energizing, and familiar. But when it comes to stroke risk, coffee's impact isn't as simple as good or bad. The truth is, when and how you drink your coffee, especially alongside certain breakfast foods, can have a big effect on your brain and blood vessels. Here's why timing matters. Caffeine temporarily raises blood pressure by constricting blood vessels and increasing heart rate. In younger adults, this effect usually fades quickly without lasting harm. But after 60, arteries are less flexible and the cardiovascular system takes longer to recover from these spikes. Combine that with the natural morning surge in blood pressure, which already peaks within the first few hours of waking, and caffeine can push those numbers into dangerous territory. The second factor is pairing. Many seniors drink coffee alongside high-carb or sugary breakfasts. Think pastries, white toast, or sweetened cereals. This combination can create a double strain on your system. The sugar load damages arterial lining, while the caffeine-induced constriction makes it harder for blood to flow smoothly. The result: higher risk of clot formation, especially if you already have plaque buildup. One of my patients, Frank, a 73-year-old retired firefighter, had a habit of starting his day with 2 cups of strong coffee and a muffin. "I've been doing it for years," he told me, "and it's never been a problem." But one morning, just minutes after finishing breakfast, he felt a sudden pounding in his head, followed by blurred vision. At the ER, his blood pressure measured 110, a dangerous hypertensive spike. While he didn't suffer a stroke that day, it was a clear warning. His morning routine had been silently stressing his cardiovascular system for years. When we adjusted his habits, moving coffee to mid-morning after a balanced lower-carb breakfast, his blood pressure readings improved, and he felt more alert without the post-meal crash. We also switched him to a lighter roast with less caffeine, and encouraged pairing it with protein and healthy fats like eggs with avocado to blunt any blood sugar rise. Coffee itself isn't the enemy. In fact, moderate coffee consumption has been linked to certain brain health benefits. But for seniors, context is everything. Drinking it right after waking alongside the wrong foods can set the stage for dangerous vascular changes. And this brings us to the most hopeful part of this discussion, the fact that there are safe, satisfying breakfast options that not only protect you from stroke risk, but actively support brain and heart health. Let's explore how to replace risky habits with meals that truly work for your body after 60. If you've been following along, you now know the traps that can turn a seemingly harmless breakfast into a stroke risk sugar spikes. Hidden sodium LDL cholesterol traps, processed fiber, and caffeine timing. The good news is you don't have to give up a satisfying morning meal to protect your brain and heart. With a few strategic swaps, you can create breakfasts that keep your blood vessels healthy, your energy steady, and your mind sharp well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The key principle is balance. You want a mix of protein, healthy fats, and slow-digesting carbohydrates that keep your blood sugar steady and your arteries relaxed. Let's look at some stroke-safe options. 1. Steel-cut oats with berries and nuts. Steel-cut oats digest more slowly than instant varieties, providing steady energy without a sharp glucose spike. Top with fresh blueberries or strawberries for antioxidants, plus a small handful of walnuts or almonds for heart-healthy fats. 2. Greek yogurt. Parfait. Choose plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt to avoid added sugars. Layer it with chia seeds, sliced kiwi, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. The combination of protein, fiber, and natural sweetness keeps your metabolism stable and supports vascular health. 3. Avocado on sprouted grain. Bread. Avocado is rich in monounsaturated fats, which help reduce LDL cholesterol and protect arterial lining. Sprouted grain bread offers more nutrients and slower digestion than refined flour breads. Add a slice of tomato for extra potassium, which helps control blood pressure. 4. Vegetable omelette with olive oil. Eggs can still be part of a healthy senior breakfast when paired with vegetables and cooked in heart-healthy oils. Spinach mushrooms and bell peppers add fiber and micronutrients, while olive oil supports anti-inflammatory pathways. 5. Cottage cheese with fresh fruit. Opt for low sodium or no salt added cottage cheese to avoid the sodium trap. Pair with fresh peach slices or melon for hydration and vitamins without overwhelming your blood sugar. One of my favorite patient success stories comes from Richard, a 66-year-old retired postal worker. He had been eating bagels and orange juice every morning for years. After switching to a rotation of the meals above his fasting blood sugar dropped by 15 points, his blood pressure normalized, and he reported feeling more alert through the day. Most importantly, his vascular screening showed improved blood flow to the brain after just 6 months. The transition doesn't have to happen overnight. You can start by replacing one risky breakfast per week with a safer option, then build from there. The more you tailor your morning meals to your body's needs at this stage of life, the more you reduce the silent risks that can steal your independence. But knowing what to eat is only part of the solution. In our final section, I'll give you a complete morning health blueprint, a set of simple, actionable rules to protect your brain and heart for life. If there's one message I hope you take from this, it's that aging changes the way your body reacts to food, especially the first meal of the day. Breakfast isn't just about fueling your morning. It's about setting the tone for your brain, heart, and blood vessels for the hours that follow. We've talked about the hidden risks: sugar surges from refined carbs, stealth sodium in healthy staples, LDL cholesterol traps in certain proteins, misleading high-fiber claims and caffeine timing that can quietly elevate your stroke risk. Each of these factors alone can stress your vascular system together. They can create a perfect storm. But here's the good news: with the right changes, you can take control. You can choose breakfasts that stabilize blood sugar, keep blood pressure in check, reduce inflammation, and protect the delicate lining of your arteries. These changes don't just lower your stroke risk, they can improve your energy, sharpen your thinking, and help you stay active and independent. Here's a stroke-safe morning blueprint you can start using tomorrow. Choose slow carbs. Opt for steel-cut oats, sprouted grain bread, or quinoa instead of instant cereals. White bread or pastries. Pair protein and healthy fats. Include eggs with vegetables. Greek yogurt with nuts or avocado on whole grain toast to slow digestion and stabilize blood sugar. Watch sodium. First thing, keep breakfast sodium under 300 milligallons when possible. Check labels. Even healthy foods can be salt-heavy. Skip the juice, eat the fruit. Whole fruit provides fiber and slows sugar absorption, unlike juice, which floods your system with fructose. Time your coffee. If you love coffee, have it after eating a balanced breakfast and avoid pairing it with sugary carbs. Hydrate early. Start your day with water to thin the blood slightly and improve circulation before your first cup of coffee or tea. You don't have to be perfect every day. Small, consistent improvements add up to major protection over time. I've seen patients reverse prediabetes, lower blood pressure, and significantly reduce their stroke risk simply by rethinking their mornings. Remember your independence, your sharp mind, your ability to keep doing the things you love. They all depend on protecting your brain's blood flow. And that protection starts with what's on your plate in the morning. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you never miss another health tip made just for you. Take control of your mornings and you take control of your future. Stay strong, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.